Today is Thursday, January 12th, 2017. And while you were distracted by the P-Gate kerfuffle and also some of the confirmation hearings, you have the United States deploying, I think, right around 4,500 troops into Poland. Now, this is being touted as something that had been promised or had been a dream of Poland since 1989 when communism fell, when the former USSR collapsed. They wanted U.S. troops to come there to be like, a defense against Russian encroachment. So that's what this is being touted as. And they just came from Germany, the troops that is. They were in Germany first, then they went to Poland, and now they're going to be there as kind of a deterrent against Russia. But they're not going to stop in Poland. They're also going to go to, I think, 7 other countries. Now, they did not name all the countries, but they said that they're going to begin in Estonia, and it's going to be as far as Bulgaria. Now, if you know what I know, if you know about geography, that's right along the border of Russia, basically. You got Latvia, Estonia, you got Belarus, Lithuania. You also have Ukraine. I'm not sure if they're going to be in Ukraine or not. I think we're in Ukraine right now anyway, but I'm not quite sure if we're going to deploy there as well. But you also got, I think you got Moldova right there, landlocked in between Romania and Ukraine. And then you also have Bulgaria to the south of Romania, if I'm not mistaken. I'll probably place a map right here on the screen before you so you can see. If you're talking about 7 countries outside of Poland, it's right up against Russia. And some would say that Russia is far away from Poland, but it's not, because you got the Kaliningrad Oblast, which is right up there to the north, right in between Poland and I think one of the Baltic states. I'm not sure if that's Lithuania or one of the other states right there, but it's right to the north of Poland. It basically is Poland. And remember, I think might have been last year, a few months ago, where there was military exercises going on right in the Baltic Sea up there. And it was some warning shots fired from Russian troops that are right there in Kaliningrad Oblast. So that area is not just Russian in name only. No, it's Russia 100%, and it's militarized as well. So by bringing these troops to Poland, you're literally in Russia's backyard. Not necessarily Moscow's backyard, because from Warsaw to Moscow is very far away. But from Moscow to Kaliningrad is only about 5 hours of a drive. It's very close. And then if you want to fan out and go to the Baltic regions, and if you want to go to Bulgaria and stuff like that, that's also very close. Because Bulgaria, that's right in I think that's the Black Sea right there. And the Black Sea, you got Crimea, which has just recently been annexed by Russia, which was part of Ukraine, which had been settled by Russians a long time ago. But I digress. That's a long story. Won't even get into that. But you also have parts of Russia. You got where they had the Olympics in Sochi. There's a lot of places right there that are very, very sensitive. So by deploying these troops, that could really mean an act of aggression as it relates to Moscow, because look at it from their point of view. You're putting troops and you're putting weapons all along their border, and you're putting troops and weapons in countries that have Russian enclaves, which is right there in Poland. You got the Kaliningrad Oblast. Then you also have them trying to put troops maybe even in Ukraine, trying to buck against the whole Crimea thing. There's a lot of different things going on, and a lot of it has been, sponsored by NATO as well. The U.S. will be involved with a lot that's going on, but NATO will also be involved with a lot of what's going on. I think they're also trying to put anti-missile defense systems or anti-missile defense systems right there in those Baltic states. But what you got to understand is these so-called anti-missile defense systems can also be used to go the other way to shoot, right? Because as far as I know, a missile defense system is not just something that can just automatically just make a missile, disappear or something like that, or make it teleport somewhere else. No, you got to fire a missile to hit it. And if I'm wrong about that, let me know in the comments below. But you got to be able to fire a missile to hit a missile. You got to be able to shoot something to hit it. So if you can shoot something to hit a missile down, then what is to stop you from shooting a missile into a region to strike it? And they're putting those all up along their border. Imagine if Russia came to Mexico and put troops right along our border at the southern border. How would we feel about that? Or if they came to Cuba, we had the whole Cuban Missile Crisis. That was a whole big thing. That was a whole big scare. We thought it was going to be the end of the world. But now we're going over there to help them. Now, my thing is this. If you're in Poland and you support the troops, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below why or why not, this would be a good thing for you guys to have. But my thing is this, my personal opinion is this. I don't think the U.S. should be playing global cop. Shout out to one of y'all that was in the comments. I saw that comment. That was a wonderful comment you made about the United States being a global cop as a spin on the whole RoboCop thing, but I digress. I don't think we should be doing that. I think we should be more focused about our own national security rather than trying to play war games over there in Eastern Europe, dealing with old tensions with the Cold War, Russia, stuff like that. This whole Boris and Natasha kind of thing. I'm not thinking that's really a good thing for us going forward, because we all know that if the United States and Russia were to get into a war head on, that is called mutually assured destruction, because we're both nuclear powers. Therefore, nobody would be able to survive a nuclear winter or a Holocaust. So I think that'd be a bad thing for the whole planet, especially just for the United States and Russia. And furthermore, I think that Europe in general should be able to defend themselves. And if they want us to defend them, it needs to make sense for us to be involved. And it can't be something where we're enacting aggression upon others, because one way to look at it is we're going to Poland to defend them from Russia. But another way to look at it is we're going to Poland to defend our own interests and to antagonize Russia. And Russia's probably looking at it like this. Okay, you got a non-European power coming over here and arming people that are right against our border. And this is very curious timing, because Obama is about to leave in just a few days here. Today's January the 12th of 2017. He's going to be gone on January 20th of 2017. So now you're going to have Donald Trump come in and try to kind of like untangle all these problems. And I saw this article from the Associated Press, so-called reputable news source. I respect Associated Press, actually, and Reuters. I think those are the two places you can go to get pretty much non-biased views, but that's not always the case. No organization is perfect. I saw this line in there that said something about Donald Trump having pro-Kremlin views. When has Donald Trump ever had anything pro-Kremlin? That's kind of, that's not the correct thing to say. Just because you are somebody that does not want to have conflict with Russia does not mean you're pro-Kremlin. I could say I don't want to fight somebody that hates me, but that doesn't mean that I have to love them. You understand what I'm saying? It just means that I could also hate them, but let's not have a conflict. You see? Now, I'm not saying that Trump is saying that he hates Russia, and I'm not saying he loves Russia either. I'm saying that he is somebody that has common sense. Why try to pick fights with Russia? Especially since we all know, like I said earlier, a fight with Russia would be bad for the whole planet. Not just us and Russia, which it would be, but for everybody in the whole planet. So I think trying to avoid conflict at all costs would be the best thing here. And what Obama is doing with this whole plan of releasing the troops to Poland and the Baltic regions and other regions that are right along Russia's border, I think is a bad thing. I'm not really sure how long this has been in the works. I don't think he just got up today and was like, you know what, Trump is just really being too pro-Kremlin and pro-Russia, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think he just got up one day and said, okay, we're just going to deploy thousands of troops along the region and develop this whole well thought out plan. It's probably something that was already in the works for a long time, but maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe he can just assemble people and just put them out there just randomly, haphazardly. Maybe he has the money and the resources in the military to be able to do that. And I respect everybody that's out there that's in the military. Thank you for your service. I really appreciate you. All the veterans, all the current military members, police, fire, public safety. I thank all of y'all and I love all of y'all. However, I'm going to criticize the government here by saying that putting you guys out there may not be the best thing for the entire planet. And I think it's politically motivated because you got Trump coming into office. He wants to have a more friendly relationship with Russia and other countries. I don't think it's a reason, as I close, I don't think it's a reason to try and pick fights with Russia or anybody else. Let's be able to get along. Let's be able to manage our interests over there without trying to impede upon the sovereignty of other sovereign nations. So that's pretty much all I got. I wanted to get that out there to you. I know it's a lot going on within the past 24 to 48 to 72 hours with all the, the P gates and the confirmation hearings and everything else. But this story is very important. Shout out to Poland. Shout out to Russia. Shout out to Germany. Shout out to Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, Belarus, Ukraine, Moldova, Bulgaria, Romania, and everywhere else. All the Eastern European states and Europe as a whole. I hope that you guys will be able to find a common ground with Russia when there's no aggression being enacted upon Moscow, nor is there any being enacted upon Warsaw or anywhere else in that region. So what do you think? Do you think that this would be a good idea to have the United States go over to Poland and have troops stationed there? If you think it's a good idea, please explain to me why. Are you in Poland? Are you Polish? Are you in that general region? What is your particular viewpoint on it? Because I know me, as an American looking on the outside, it may be kind of hard to understand all the idiosyncrasies of what's going on. So I'd like to be able to get your viewpoint on that. And if you got anything else to add, anything I missed, anything that I failed to mention, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.
Breaking news overseas, American soldiers rolling into Russia's backyard on tanks. President Obama deploying nearly 4,000 troops to Poland in response to Russian President Vladimir Putin's promise to strengthen its missile program.